If you have brown skin and you're scared to go out in the sun and you're hiding indoors all day because you're worried about pigmentation, melasma, or getting really dark, this is what you can do to save yourself from pigmentation. As a primary care doctor, prevention is always my key focus in any condition or disease. And for melanated skin, prevention of pigmentation is so key, because once it forms, it's really hard to get rid of and can be permanent in some cases. And unfortunately, this can really affect people's self-esteem, and also who doesn't want to have beautiful even skin tone, even if you have beautiful brown skin and melanated skin, which for so long hasn't been catered for. Hey, it's Dr. Sanam Dhillon, specialist doctor and founder of Rock Melan, evidence-based skincare for melanin-rich skin. This channel is here to cut through all the noise, all the misinformation, and help protect you and your beautiful skin of color with clinically backed science. I look through all the evidence for you. I do all the research because it's so important for us to have an objective view of what actually works for our skin and not just follow hypes and trends. Additionally, this channel is all about celebrating melanin-rich skin because it's so powerful, it is beautiful, and we don't need to lighten or bleach our beautiful skin. If you like what my channel stands for, go hit like on this video, and also don't forget to subscribe. So as we know, UV radiation can be super harmful to our skin. It can cause aging, it can cause pigmentation, and it can also cause skin cancers. Less of a concern for melanin-rich skin, but it's still really important. Now, in Australia, the sun's very harsh. Our ozone layer is thinner, and during the summer times, the southern hemisphere is actually much closer to the sun. So on average, we get around 10 to 15% more UV radiation here in Australia than the northern hemisphere, and a lot more than other parts of the world. So for melanated skin, this means we have a higher risk of things like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and conditions like melasma. But who do I consider having melanated skin, melanin-rich skin, or skin of color? So if you've got olive skin, if you're born in Asia, South Asia, or if your heritage is Asian, South Asian, if you're Pacific Islander, Latino, and African, you're considered to have melanin-rich skin because your pigment or your melanin in your skin is much more prominent. And also our melanocytes, which are the cells that produce melanin, are larger, and it's a lot more easy to trigger them to cause pigmentation in our skin, which is all the brown unevenness that you see in our skin. So we're going to go through 3 hot tips for you to still enjoy the outdoors but stay protected. Number 1, you want to avoid UV radiation in the peak times of UV rays. So this is when your UV index is more than 3. And a time of the day you might think about this is about 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. You can check your UV radiation index or UV index on your smartwatches, or you can jump online and just Google it. Try to plan your activities like beach days, family walks around times that avoid UV indexes greater than this. And if you can't avoid it, you want to make sure that you wear adequate sun protection. The second thing within avoiding triggers is avoiding skincare ingredients that will trigger your skin's inflammatory response. So this includes retinols, retinoic acid, or tretinoin. When you go out in the sun, retinol is unstable. We call it photoreactive. It can react when it's exposed to UV radiation. You want to opt for ingredients that don't do this. So things like a bakuchiol, which is a plant-based alternative to vitamin A that doesn't actually react when you go out in the sun. It's called photostable. So bakuchiol at 0.5% concentration, when used twice a day, it's actually 15% more effective, and this is shown in a clinical study to be more effective than retinol in reducing hyperpigmentation. And this is probably because of the effect that it has on the hormones that trigger your melanocytes, as well as being anti-inflammatory, as well as helping with cell turnover. So I think it is such a great product to wear, particularly in the morning when you are thinking about going out in the sun, or even if you're indoors all day, bakuchiol is a really safe alternative if you are facing a mirror or facing a window near the sun. Other skincare ingredients that you want to avoid before going out in the sun, or you don't want to wear during a beach day, is vitamin C in its purest form, ascorbic acid or L-ascorbic acid. This is also very photoreactive. So when you go out in the sun, you are going to have a reaction to it. It's going to irritate your skin. It's going to impair your skin's barrier. And once you do that, once you irritate or inflame our skin, we pigment, as we all know. And that's what this channel is all about, teaching you guys about pigmentation and how to protect your melanin-rich skin. So vitamin C derivatives are different forms of vitamin C that other skincare products have as an alternative. So let's talk about vitamin C derivatives. They are essentially vitamin C in a different or precursor form that needs to be broken down by our skin to be converted into active vitamin C. But they're a lot more stable, and one of my favorites is ascorbyl 2 glucoside. So when you're reading your packaging for your skincare, you can check if it's ascorbic acid or if it's ascorbyl glucoside or tetrahexyl decyl ascorbate. There's different forms of vitamin C, and we'll do a video, I'll link it here, about all the different forms and what to watch out for and what's suitable for skin of color. But generally, my recommendation is to avoid straight L-ascorbic acid or ascorbic acid, even when it's stabilized in other forms like CE ferulic acid, because it can still cause a reaction in the sun, and the pH is also not very gentle for our skin of color. So if you're looking for vitamin C derivatives that are safe to go out in the sun or products with them, you can look at The Ordinary's ascorbyl 2 glucoside. It's got a very high percentage, so it can still be a bit irritating in the sun. Or go check out our Dewy Glow Serum, which does have ascorbyl 2 glucoside at the same concentration that's effective as L-ascorbic acid at 15% without causing any reactivity in the sunlight, which is really awesome. I use it every day. I love the outdoors living here on the Gold Coast. The next tip you want to avoid if you're spending lots of time outdoors is avoiding things like heat and friction. So we know for a fact that conditions like melasma and pigmentation gets worse when you expose heat to your skin and your face. So I'm talking really, really hot saunas, when you get in your car and it's really, really hot and you've got to turn on your AC, but it's not working and the car is literally like a sauna, hot showers, and things like blow dryers and hair heat tools, which will worsen things like your post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and melasma. So when you're pairing that really hot trigger with UV radiation and going outside, you're going to make pigmentation look a lot worse. The other thing you want to avoid is friction. So rubbing your face really hard, constantly rubbing areas and then exposing it to the sunlight is going to potentially trigger inflammation. And things like facial massage and friction from really tight hats. You know, you're wearing sun protection, but if you've got lots of friction in that area, taking off your hat for a few minutes, that can actually cause pigmentation in that area. So common area that we can get pigmentation and see pigmentation in clinic is around the forehead because of tight hats. Now, I know this video is all about how to protect your skin when you're going out in the sun, but it's also really, really important to mention what to avoid or when to avoid the sun. So if you've had a chemical peel that's deep, if you've had micro trauma to your skin with micro needling, with dermabrasion, and then lastly with laser, and we'll do a whole video on lasers for you guys, but this is a time that you actually do not want to go out in the sun. 2 weeks before, which a lot of people don't think about, they'll book an appointment or they'll go see an esthetician or beautician and not realize they need to photo protect or protect themselves from the sun the 2 weeks before even considering having that treatment. So now that you know, you're going to make sure you book your appointments 2 weeks out and also the 2 weeks after that. Avoid the sun, strict photo protection, but after the 2 weeks, it's all good because you can wear your SPF 50 plus. Even when you're indoors and you've had those treatments, it is a good idea to consider wearing your SPF 50 plus indoors because you're still going to get exposure to UV radiation through windows in your home or office. So now we understand what to avoid when going outdoors. The second thing is we want to protect. So how do you actually protect your skin when you are outdoors? The number one thing is going to be sun protection via SPF 50 plus. So sun protective factor 50 plus. Creams and lotions, and this is really vital. It is such a myth that brown skin, melanin-rich skin or skin of color doesn't need SPF 50 plus because we don't get skin cancers. Well, the problem is we get really bad forms of pigmentation. We can trigger things like melasma that's sometimes irreversible. Most of the times it's chronic, it's going to be there. And lastly, aging is important to us all. So it will age your skin. If you're in the sun for prolonged periods of time, it's going to break down your collagen. It's going to cause degradation of really, really vital cells that, promote collagen, your fibroblasts. So please do wear your SPF 50 plus. The other thing you want to do is look for ingredients in skincare that has blue light blockers. So you've got the electromagnetic spectrum, you've got your ionizing radiation, which is UV radiation, and then you've got your visible light or non-ionizing radiation. And it's really, really undereducated to people of color that blue light actually can trigger hyperpigmentation, and it can make existing pigmentation that's there look a lot darker. So you want to try to avoid blue light in certain circumstances. So your LED lights at home, if you don't need to switch them on, switch them off. If you can switch all of your phone devices to night shift mode where you don't have blue light, the night shift mode is to help with sleep, but it's also additional benefits of protecting us from pigmentation. You also want to look for ingredients in moisturizers as well as sunscreens that might have an additional blue light blocking effect. And if you can't find any, because we have a limited supply of those in Australia, Rock Melan is making one, a moisturizer that you can wear at night, which has blue light blocking. It actually reflects the blue light away rather than just absorbing it and being an antioxidant, which is a lot of what other creams are for. And also you want to think about during the day wearing makeup. So your foundations often have something called iron oxide, and you can go online and check your foundation ingredients. And if it has something like an iron oxide, you're actually blocking blue light by wearing it. The iron oxides are one form of blue light blockade, and other forms of blue light blockade are cerium oxides, and these are often found in things like baking powders for the face, not for baking, but things like your setting powders, your Laura Mercier's, your Huda Beauty's have cerium oxide to prevent blue light as well, and that's just because how it sits and how it's made. During the nighttime, of course, you're not probably going to wear foundation, and you're probably sitting there scrolling on your phone and you're not realizing that you're being exposed to blue light. So that's when you go into night shift mode on your phone and try to avoid blue lights. This is in particular for people with melasma. So people with melasma, it's a really stressful time, and you want to try to do everything in your ability to prevent that melasma looking darker and getting worse. So that's when I would be super, super anal about doing these sorts of steps. So we've avoided triggers. We have protected ourselves with SPF 50 blue light blockers. Other things you need to protect yourself with is clothing and eyewear. Wearing a visor or a hat when you're going out for your daytime walk. Making sure that you've got sunnies that are UV protecting and not just, a cheap type that doesn't actually prevent the polarized light from coming through. So polarized sunglasses and ones that kind of cover more of your face. And also seek shade. It's really simple and easy to do, but if you've got a really big beach day coming up, you're going to be in the sun for many, many hours. Make sure you take your umbrella or a cool cabana so that you can sit under that and give your skin a break from the environmental damage. And did I mention that when you are wearing sunscreen, make sure you're wearing a full teaspoon of it. So generally the amount is your 2 finger lengths for your face, 2 finger lengths for your neck, and then as much as you can for your chest and the rest of your body. Reapply it every 2 hours, and if you've gotten in the water or are really sweaty, you need to put it back on it again. Constantly. I've got little sunscreen bottles everywhere around the house, just in front of the door before I leave the house, as well as in my car, because I'm so anal about wearing sunscreen. Probably just a vanity thing as well, the fact that the sun does break down our collagen so easily. So that's really important to me, and I just make sure that I set up little habits and little practices so that the sunscreen is getting onto my face. Tinted sunscreen is also a really good option for blue light blocking and prevention of UV radiation induced pigmentation. skin. So tinted sunscreens are really helpful because you can reapply them and it doesn't look like it's a mess on top of your makeup. So if you've already put sunscreen on, then you've put makeup on and you've got your iron oxide coverage, it's really hard to go back in and put another sunscreen on. So that's why tinted sunscreens are a really, really good option for that. And hopefully one day we can make one in Rock Melan that's got a really good range of tones and colors. Okay, so we've avoided triggers, we've protected, and the third thing is we want to nourish. So nourish your skin after you've been out in the sun, it's been a long day, or even during the day. You want to make sure you've got antioxidants in your skincare and things that are going to work hard to prevent all of the free radicals, all of that damage from oxidative stress. So reactive oxygen species on our skin is what breaks down our collagen, is what triggers inflammation, and then that inflammation goes, hey, melanocytes, hey, pigmentation cells, wake up and start causing pigmentation and drop your melanin everywhere in unorganized, chaotic fashion. So melanin is helpful because it actually blocks UV from going deeper, but it's unhelpful when it does it in sporadic bursts from inflammation. So you want to be using nourishing skincare ingredients. This is so important and has made a big difference in my life. Using a really stable form of vitamin C has seriously stopped the amount of blotches that I get on my skin when I'm going out in the sun. Using niacinamide, which is anti-inflammatory, to support my antioxidants like vitamin C's, rock melon extract, fruit extracts, has really, really helped me to keep my skin tone nice and even though I love going out in the sun. You can see I've got a beautiful tan and I absolutely enjoy it. I know that my skincare actives underneath my sunscreen are working really hard. In summary, my top 3 ingredients that I do not leave the house without before having a big day in the sun for skincare serums are niacinamide, generally 5% for skin of color is essential, bakuchiol 0.5%, and ascorbyl 2 glucoside, which is a type of vitamin C. But if you've got any other derivative of vitamin C that is not ascorbic acid or L-ascorbic acid, you're going to be fine. So go for it. But my personal favorite is ascorbyl 2 glucoside because it works for 24 hours. So I know when I'm in the sun, it's not oxidizing straight away and I'm still protected. Other skincare ingredients that are really helpful are things that help the barrier function of your skin. So your barrier function is what is your defense in letting damaging rays through your skin. So you've got your serums, you've got your moisturizing barriers protections, and then you've got your SPFs. But if your serum has a bit of an ability to barrier protect with things like hyaluronic acid, things like squalane, and hyaluronic acid that's generally high or low molecular weight, not ultra low molecular weight, that actually creates a film on your skin, things like glycerin, squalane, ceramides, they're going to help protect the barrier of your skin. And we know for a fact that with melanin-rich skin, that barrier is often impaired by conditions like eczema, by things like rosacea, by having sensitive skin or dermatitis-prone skin. So your barrier protection is key. In the serum that we've formulated for Rock Melan called Dewy Glow, I needed all of these ingredients in one step because I could not spend time putting a niacinamide serum on, a vitamin C serum on, bakuchiol, and then going in with a hyaluronic acid, then a moisturizer with ceramides and squalane, and then putting on SPF, and then putting on makeup. I don't have time. As a busy medical professional, I needed something really quick and also that was in concentrations that one was working for our skin and not just promotions from other skincare companies or studies that were, twisted to show that their ingredient works over other ingredients or a supplier that wants to sell their ingredient. We needed things that were evidence-based, and it's really actually hard to find studies out there for our type of skin. So what we had to do was deduct what percentages were safe for sensitive skin, what pH is ideal for our skin, and also then look at ingredients that actually have evidence in preventing pigmentation. And niacinamide, bakuchiol, ascorbyl 2 glucoside, squalane, hyaluronic acid are included in our Dewy Glow serum so that I could save all these steps and just do it in one and then put my SPF on and I'm ready to go. So finally, we have avoided triggers when we go out in the sun, have used protective SPFs and blue light blockers. We have then nourished our skin. And lastly, we want to educate ourselves. So the most important thing is not to avoid the sun, but it is to spread awareness within our communities that one, our skin is beautiful. Melanin protects us. It actually stops aging by 10 to 20 years compared to Caucasian people. It's really important that we don't make our daughters feel bad for going out in the sun. We don't make our family feel bad for going out in the sun, but rather that we stay vigilant about how to look after our skin. And this is not talked a lot about. Colorism has had a huge impact on my life, and this is my message to say that we need to encourage our friends, family, children, and future generations that it's healthy to socialize, to go out in the sun, to play sport, enjoy nature, because this is also beneficial for our overall health as well as our skin health. It reduces cortisol levels, and we know that cortisol has a big impact on things like acne. It's also really important to educate yourselves, your family members, and community about times in our life, particularly for women of color, that we may be more prone to pigmentation and that we might want to then avoid going out in the sun or limit this or protect our skin with all the tips that I've just talked about. So during the pubertal phase, when you've got acne flares, when you're menstruating, or when you've started an oral contraceptive pill that may induce acne, acne can cause post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So this is a time you want to be ultra cautious and protect your skin. A time like pregnancy or postpartum. So these are times where your skin is more susceptible to conditions like melasma, which is very easily triggered by the heat and sun. And lastly, as we get older and we age, in situations when you're going through menopause or perimenopause, again, you've got an increased risk of melasma, but you're also at an increased risk of forming things like solar lentigines, which are dark spots related to sun exposure. This sounds like our entire life cycle, but there are going to be times in your life where the risk of pigmentation is going to be higher. And it's my duty and Rock Melan's duty to educate you guys so that you can be proactive about it and do all the things that I've talked about so that we can actually be empowered to take the narrative back into our control, as well as create products for you guys that will protect your skin during those phases of life, but still make you glow and still make you beautiful and still make you feel luxurious, because I love feeling luxurious and premium skincare is where it's at. Lastly, you want to also know your genetic predisposition. So if your mum's had melasma, you're most likely going to consider protecting yourself even more. If your family members had severe acne, you might also get it if you're younger. So these are things that are really important to take into consideration. All right, so now we know how to protect your beautiful melanin-rich skin when you're going out in the sunlight. I hope you enjoyed all these tips and tricks, and don't forget to watch this video about what the best vitamin C is for our type of skin so that you're getting the benefits and you're not missing out, because there are so many things to go through that we need to let you know about so that you can educate yourself and make really informed choices when choosing skincare that's safe, that's scientific, and is simple and simplified. So go check it out. Bye.